This is Amy of AC Magic TV. I do apologize for my earlier stream. My gimbal decided to go haywire and I couldn't get it going right. So enjoy the tour. It's hard for us to see the chat right now because it's pretty sunny. And just enjoy the scenery of Pittsburgh. That's Mount Washington. That's where the Riverhounds play at the Highmark Stadium, which is soccer, which is football in the UK. And just listen to the tour. And this is the Fort Pitt Bridge.
So I think that's why they really relocated. However, the Pittsburgh Passion are co-owned by famed Pittsburgh Steelers running back Franco Harris. The other co-owner of the team also happens to be their
Hello, England, Portugal. Thank you for joining.
This next route ahead of us is Pittsburgh's most infamous.
We are on the riverboat cruise here in Pittsburgh. This is the Fort Pitt Bridge. I do welcome you in. It is hard for me to see the chat because it is pretty sunny the way the sun is shining on our screen. Hello, Penguin Master.
If you're from Pittsburgh,
we had to restart because I had a problem with the gimbal.
It's horrendous traffic patterns is what makes this bridge so infamous. It is Pittsburgh's busiest bridge with around 250,000 cars.
So I'm sorry if you missed part of the cruise. We are on the Monongahela River, but now we're going to come to the head of the river, which goes into the Ohio River and the Allegheny River.
2 lanes go through the Fort Pitt tunnels. It is a nightmare during rush hour traffic.
Yeah, it is. It's nice and relaxing, and I hope you enjoy it also. As long as you're watching, or anyone else is watching, or maybe you're going to watch the replay, because I know a lot of people are live in the parks.
Yeah.
That's Mount Washington. That's way up on the hill there. They do have overlooks and 2 inclines that you can ride on.
So couldn't get around the axle until they cleared it. 2 hours later, I finally made it to where I was going.
Where that fountain is a point.
Now, the Fort Pitt
that is Point State Park. That's where the French and Indian War and different things go.
You'll see the taller buildings sticking up around a little bit, but Mount Washington does a really good job of blocking your view. You don't see the full city skyline until you come through this Fort Pitt.
Oh, you're welcome, William. Thank you for joining.
This was actually voted as being the best entrance into any city in the entire world. So if our front door to our city is this beautiful and this spectacular, we have to have just
Hello, Francisco.
Front yard to go.
Hello, Francisco. Hope you're enjoying your day.
This sits on 36 acres of land, underwent a multi-million-dollar renovation project.
If you are enjoying, please make sure you hit that thumbs up button. That way we'll know that you're live. Welcome in, Timothy Rainwaters. We're on a riverboat cruise called the Gateway Clipper Fleet here in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I kind of do this every once in a while.
Hopefully they do return this year. I think I did hear that the Arts Festival is returning this year, which is good news. They were all canceled last year.
So just enjoy. I'll try to engage in chat as much as I can see the screen.
Right, it's great news. Like,
and you can see all the boaters on the shore there.
You don't need to wear your mask no more. Like, this is great news. Our business is going to start picking back up again. Now, I know you guys are all noticing the star of the city of Pittsburgh here. The fountain located at the tip of the point. Now, this fountain is capable of shooting a column of water up to 150 feet into the air. It is, however, controlled by wind measuring devices to make sure that all of its falls
Thank you, William.
fall through the 200-foot base there below it.
I had an earlier stream when I first started the thing, and my gimbal decided to go crazy.
It has been strong enough, it can actually take the spirit of water from this fountain and spread its water back as the wind columns on the side of that. The 3 columns of water run around the main stem of the fountain. Are
straight ahead there where the submarine is, that's where our Carnegie Science Center. And next to the Carnegie Science Center is the Rivers Casino.
And strategic point on our tour. As right here at Pittsburgh's Point is the confluence of the 3 rivers. This is one of very few places in the entire world that you will see 3 rivers together at one location. Now, Captain Eric did talk about the Monongahela River as we left our Station Square dock. But right here at Pittsburgh's Point, you can actually see what looks like a sewer grate right there in the center of the point. That's actually a commemorative plaque marking mile marker 0.0 of the Ohio River. The Ohio River then flows downstream out ahead of us to the left.
There's a lot of boaters out on the river that we're going to turn on, which is the Allegheny River. There is the home of the Pittsburgh Steelers, Heinz Field, straight ahead.
Travel that for another 980.
And then we'll go by the home of the Pittsburgh Pirates.
This makes Pittsburgh
There's the Science Center.
In the entire world via our waterways. In fact, more freight actually travels up and down our waters here yearly than what travels through the Panama Canal.
Yeah, it is really relaxing right now. And it's actually beautiful here today. It's in the 80s.
The busiest inland port is New Orleans.
A little overcast, but it was sunny earlier.
As we complete our bend around the point here, we're going to enter completely into this Allegheny River.
That's the home of the Pittsburgh Steelers right there, Heinz Field.
And then arches slightly north of Olean, New York, and then returns.
They also hold summer concerts. Sometimes the University of Pittsburgh plays their football games there.
For the last 72 miles of it. Now that's only right here from Pittsburgh's Point, upriver as far as
that one little keyhole monument there is the Fred Rogers Monument.
And the river does return back to its natural depth of about 2 to 3 feet deep. In fact, for a period of about 9 months out of the year,
yes, it
all
is.
of our rivers here would have only been 2 to 3 feet deep.
You can see all the boaters there.
Bank to bank, and the water would have come up to about
they all had to move out of the way.
The Army Corps of Engineers came in, however, and they did design and build a series of locks and dams, and they guarantee us 9 feet of navigable water. Here in Pittsburgh, though, they tend to keep us at about 16.5 feet deep. Not that much deeper than your average swimming pool would be. The deepest part in our rivers here is only 33.3
We'll get a look at Point State Park on our way back, because when he turns around, we'll get an idea. You can get an idea of what the fountain and everything looks like.
The river in the Pittsburgh Pool, 33.3 feet deep.
This is the North Shore. They call this the North Shore. It's the north side of Pittsburgh.
The Allegheny has 8 and the Ohio has 21.
Hello, Randy and Kathy. Thank you for joining. We are on the Gateway Clipper Fleet riverboat ride here in Pittsburgh. It's a tour, sightseeing cruise tour. They do sunset ones, so one of these days I'm going to come down and do a sunset one so you can see what it looks like in the evening down here and the reflections off the water.
Now don't worry about that staying over there. We'll be back when we come back down the river. We do like to save the best for last on our tour. But if your attention is drawn off to the left-hand side, you will see Stage AE over here. Stage
yes,
AE
it is. So I'll let you all listen.
Holds around 3,500 fans for an indoor show and around 5,000 or 6,000 for an outdoor show. The stage inside there is also on a pivot. So if they decide they want to take the indoor show and make it an outdoor show or vice versa, all they have to do is flip a switch and the stage rotates 180 degrees on its own. Think of it like a lazy Susan you might have in your cupboards for your dishes or your spices or whatever like that. Same exact concept. Also over here is the
when the 4th of July comes, that'll be about 4 or 5. That'll be about 6 to 7 deep boats along the shoreline there. Because they'll let them park along there for the 4th of July. And whenever they have the regatta, but they haven't had a Three Rivers regatta in a while.
Here you will find a deep fried cheeseburger or deep fried Italian hoagie. I'm told you can also get deep fried meatball sub, but I've never actually seen anybody order one. What they do is they take the entire thing, bun it off, dip it in a tempura-like batter, and then deep fry it up to golden deliciousness. Believe it or not, they are actually rather good. I just don't recommend eating them all the time. And then, they gotta put less tomato and pickle on the side, because you gotta have the vegetables to go with all the fat and grease for the sandwich, right? There's also a 36-ounce steak on this menu. And if you eat the entire thing in-house, sides and all, your meal is free. If not, it's going to cost you close to $100 to pay for it. This next bridge right here is the Fort Duquesne Bridge. And this is the bridge of the Fort Duquesne. Same exact design. It's just half the channel span and length. Now this bridge did go by different name for many years back in the 60s and 70s. This was referred to as the Bridge to Nowhere. This bridge ended at the first set of piers on land off to the left-hand side there and stopped. It had no on-ramp.
That's the bridge he's talking about right there.
It had the permits to finish the highway that the bridge connected to today. Well, during that
yes, that is the home of the Pittsburgh Pirates. It is PNC Park. And the Pittsburgh Pirates baseball team plays there.
and drove his dad's or the family station wagon here.
They're holding their own. There's also an arena on the other side of Pittsburgh, but you won't be able to see it from here, where the home of the Pittsburgh Penguins are. They're actually playing this afternoon at 3 p.m. against the Islanders in the Stanley Cup playoffs.
He called a cab and he went home. I'm sure he
we'll get a good view here of PNC Park.
To the family car. A few years after this, they did get the permits. They did finish that highway, and today it does connect Interstate
yes.
279.
Right here, where those buildings are, used to be where Three Rivers Stadium was, which was the home of the Pirates and the Steelers. And then when everybody was starting to build their own stadiums, that's when they tore it down and they each built their own stadiums.
Next cluster of silver-clad buildings are Gateway Centers 1, 2, and 3. They are traditional-looking skyscrapers, and their outer skins are 100%.
We'll see all that whenever, because this is downtown Pittsburgh. But you can see there's a lot of people on that side of the boat. So we'll catch that later.
It's home to KDK TV2. That is our CBS affiliate here in the state of Pittsburgh.
Because he'll probably talk about the stadium on the way when they turn around down here.
There's also the former home to KDK 1020 AM radio, the oldest radio broadcasting station in the entire world. They got their start back in 1920, giving out the presidential election results for the Cox-Harding presidential race. With one simple statement: Warren Harding has won the presidential election. That was it. That was their very first broadcast. Well, it was the first time that many people
right there is one of the Coast Guard stations.
Started destroying the radios. The radio companies loved it because they got to make more money because they
and
had
the Riverboat Rescue.
They made more money. Well, it did take off because
yes, it is very big. There, you can get a better view this way, William. And we did go past the smaller soccer stadium called the Highmark Stadium.
Now, to the left-hand side is the second of our three riverfront stadiums we're going to talk about, PNC Park, home to our Pittsburgh Pirates. PNC Park was voted by ESPN Magazine as well as Dick's Sporting Goods as being the best ballpark in all the major leagues to see a baseball game in. It also happens to be one of the smallest, as it only holds a little over 36,000 fans. But no seat inside PNC Park is more than 88 feet from the surface of the field. So if a player hits the ball hard enough, roughly about 324 feet, they can actually clear these bleachers here too and draw the ball right into the Allegheny River. What's up? How you guys doing? Now this bridge, along with the next two bridges, are Pittsburgh's.
We just went under the Roberto Clemente Bridge, which is named after Roberto Clemente, a Pittsburgh Pirate, former Pittsburgh Pirate.
Clemente Bridge, named after the late great right fielder from those Pittsburgh Pirates, who tragically lost his life giving aid to earthquake victims in Nicaragua. The Roberto Clemente Bridge does get shut down to all motorized traffic during every Pittsburgh Pirate home game, and it is used as a pedestrian walking bridge only. So you can actually park in downtown, walk across the bridge, and walk right into PNC Park.
Yep.
Off to your right inside the end of the Roberto Clemente Bridge, you'll see that building has a large archway cut out in the center of it and the word Renaissance across the top.
Yes, it is the city of bridges. There's like 250 bridges along these rivers.
This was built in the Victorian era before the days of air conditioning, so they wanted every office inside there to have its own window for air circulation. What that did is that created like a tunnel vortex in there, so it actually kept the building very cool during the summer months. Renaissance Hotel is there today, and I guarantee you the air conditioning does work very well. And it is home to the most expensive hotel suite in the city of Pittsburgh. That'll be their 2-bedroom presidential suite that will cost you $2,200 a night to stay in. The second of our three sister bridges here is the Andy Warhol Bridge.
We just went under the Andy Warhol Bridge.
Who was born and raised here in the city of Pittsburgh.
That's the Andy Warhol
Now,
Bridge.
off to the left-hand side, the end of the bridge there, you'll see a building back there. It's a white building with a black banner running down the front face of it, just behind the Burns White Building. That is the Andy Warhol Museum. That is the largest museum in North America dedicated to the works of only one artist. It used to be the largest museum in the world, but there's one in South America now that actually is bigger than that one. Not sure who that artist is for. The glass wave going over here to your left-hand side is home to Alcoa, the aluminum company of America. Their building there is made out of nothing but glass and aluminum. And it doesn't have one normal retaining wall the entire length of it. So you can actually stand on one side of that building and see clear through to the other side of it with nothing obstructing your views. It is a completely open floor concept. The third and final of our three sister bridges here is the Rachel Carson Bridge, named after the environmentalist, author, marine biologist, and founding
Those
member
are
of the
apartments and
Environmental
condos
Protection
there
Agency.
along the river behind the
Now, Rachel
trees.
Carson grew up
They have a
in
few
Sharp
bike
Hill,
trails
Michigan,
all
City,
in
which
and
is
around
further up this
Pittsburgh
river,
too, so
and
we
she
are a
graduated
bicycle
from Chapman
city.
College. She went on to write a series of books, and her one book that she had titled Silent Spring went into detail the detrimental effects of a pesticide that was known as DDT. She had found in her research into this pesticide that it was actually killing up the bird populations in the United States.
And we'll get good views of the
Most
city when
importantly,
we
the
turn
American
around
bald
up
eagle
here.
almost went
They
extinct
usually go up to
because of it.
this bridge and turn
Her research
around.
did lead to the banning of this pesticide, and the bird populations have gone up once again.
And one of these
You can
days
actually
I
go
will
and Google
do
Pittsburgh
a
bald
walking
eagle,
bridge
and it'll take you
tour
to a
on a
live
couple of the
camera feed you have
bridges
in a nesting ground
when
here
I
in
get
the
a
city.
chance here
We're located
after
in the
my
Hayes
work
District,
or
up off the
on a
Montague
Saturday
River,
afternoon.
further than we went on our cruise. At any point in time, you could see anywhere between 15 and 20 different bald eagles flying around the city of Pittsburgh today. Now, this building over here to your right,
I do welcome everyone in. This is Amy of AJC Magic TV. We are on the Gateway Clipper Fleet Riverboat Tour, sightseeing tour. I hope you're enjoying. Remember to hit the like button if you are enjoying the tour.
Square footage than any other building in downtown. This is the David L. Lawrence
You can see the train going across the top of that bridge there. See?
The same name. This one just tripled the size of the original. Home to many conventions that take place
Hello,
in the city.
Monarch
We have the
Moments.
Pittsburgh
Thank you for
Home Garden
joining.
Show, the auto show, all take place here. We had the G20 Summit here a few years ago. However, the biggest draw to the convention center in the city of Pittsburgh here is Anthrocon. Anthrocon is otherwise known as the Furry Convention. If you don't know what the furries are, think of like a college football team, their mascot, Pitt Panthers. The person that dressed up like that Pitt Panther is essentially a furry. That's what the furries are. But they're in town usually 1 week a year, usually around the 4th of July. And that 1 week, they bring in anywhere between $3 and $7 million in revenue to the city of Pittsburgh in 1 week. So they're bringing that much money, and they can.
Yeah, it's pretty cool there. There's a couple bridges where the trains go
This next one
across.
right here is the Fort Wayne Rail Bridge, and as you can tell, it's still a very active rail bridge. I'm going to pause for a second until we get away from the noise. Okay, that is the end of the train. As you can tell, as you can see, it's a very active rail bridge still. At one point in time, though, this bridge is able to carry 4 trains across at the same time, 2 trains on each deck.
That shore over there is the north side of Pittsburgh. There is a south side of Pittsburgh where we got on at the boat.
To this day, we're under Norfolk Southern as well as Amtrak. If you notice the piers on the bridge, 2 different colored stone. The bridge used to sit on the lower black stone of those piers. During World War I, Pittsburgh was the leading steel provider in the war effort, and they found crucial supplies in the steelmaking process that were up here on this Allegheny River. But they couldn't get the boats underneath that bridge to get it to the steel mills. Reason for this being is railroad companies kept the bridges low because their only competition was the boating industry. If boats couldn't get underneath the bridge, they had to ship the goods by rail, so the rail company would make money in the process. Well, during wartime, when it's all hands on deck, this is not the answer you give the Secretary of War and expect to get away with it. And yes, we did actually have a Secretary of War back then. I had to look it up because I thought it was like somebody was just like mispronouncing. No, there actually was a Secretary of War back during World War I.
This is the Allegheny River, so you know that.
Raised. So what they did is they invented a series of steam jacks, and with the assistance of cranes, they jacked that bridge up inch by inch by inch, placing the lighter colored stone in as they went. All while doing this, they were also ordered they weren't allowed to stop the rail traffic from going across the bridge either. So at one point in time, you could have 4 trains crossing that bridge, boats going up and down the river underneath of it, and the only thing supporting it all would have been steam jacks and cranes.
Are making the U-turn.
This is an amazing thing to do today, let alone when that got performed back in 1918. Now, the Fort Wayne Rail Bridge is the 4th oldest bridge here in the city of Pittsburgh.
That one building back there that's white with the like dark triangle.
This is the Veterans Memorial Highway Bridge.
Groove is one of our Allegheny Health System
it's a
hospitals.
construction-style steel girder bridge, nothing fancy to look at. It's only 8 lanes of traffic. But if you're able to get a good glimpse of our street sign up there on that bridge, see how it says South 579 to East 376. This is home to one of the world's shortest interstates, Interstate 579. It's 1.5 miles in length.
And now you'll get to see the city a lot better.
Downtown Pittsburgh, crosses the Allegheny River here, connects to Interstate 279 on the other side there, and ends. Never picks up again anywhere else. How can it be deemed an interstate when it quite literally only travels through Pittsburgh? It took me 5 years of asking this question before I finally got my answer. I had a PennDOT bridge inspector on the boat. Federal funding. If it was deemed to be an interstate, the federal government was responsible for building it as well as maintaining it for all of its life. Now,
that building with the UPMC sign used to be the U.S. Steel building. Now it's the UPMC building.
Back down towards PNC Park. But before I go, we are at the perfect angle and the perfect spot in the river to talk about Pittsburgh's tallest building. It's that tall black tower that has the letters UPMC across the top of it. This is the United States Steel Building, or the USX Tower. And the reason that UPMC is on the top of it is because University of Pittsburgh Medical Center leases over 50% of the office space inside. So that gives them the right to put their name on the top of the tower. Now the steel tower is made out of the special steel that is known as Core 10 steel, which is designed to rust to a certain degree and then never rust again. So it looks like the building was painted black. It's actually the natural rusty patina color of that steel. And in fact, the closer you get to it, it's more like a dark.
And that white building with the roof like that is our convention center.
Now the building that sits directly in front of it with the pyramid-shaped top is the golf tower. Now if you're from the city of Pittsburgh, you might have heard about the smoke that was billowing out of the top of the golf tower just a few days ago when we elected a new mayor. Now it's not official him being the new mayor yet, it was just a primary, but there was no other runners from any other party, so he's pretty much the new mayor. Now the pyramid-shaped top is decked out with an LED lighting display that at nighttime does give you the weather forecast for the following day. It's not granted you know how to read it. It was so complicated to understand they had to issue a key in the newspaper on how to read it. We used to have the key, I still couldn't tell you how to read it. All I can tell you is the top of that building is red, it's gonna be hot. If it's blue, it's gonna be cold. If you see it flashing red, it's because the Penguins have just scored a goal.
Did not know that. Never knew that.
Black and gold is because the Pirates have just scored or won, and if you see going up and down black and gold,
this is the convention center that's in front of us there.
Other than that, you're better off just pulling out your phone.
It's pretty big in there.
Weather bug to see what the weather's going to be. Now we are going to take a small little break. We'll pick things back up once we get back down towards PNC Park. In the meantime, though, feel free, stand up, stretch your legs, go downstairs. Second deck, we do have Ruthie at a full-service cocktail bar. And we have Amanda on the first deck battle bar with a full-service cocktail bar as well as a full-service snack bar. So feel free to stand up, stretch your legs. When we come back on, you will still hear me throughout the whole entire boat. And we'll talk to you guys in just a few minutes. Thank you.
I am going to do later this summer a nighttime cruise at sunset, so that way we'll be able to see the reflections of all the buildings and everything off the water. Hopefully I may come down during the 4th of July to show you around Fort Pitt, which is Point State Park. That is like a home of the Fort Pitt Museum for the French and Indian War that happened here. And the old Fort Pitt Blockhouse. Hello, Texas Takes. Great seeing you on Carlos and Jeff's stream today. Hope you're enjoying your Disney vacation. This is the city of Pittsburgh. Yes, it does reflect off a lot of times. And it's really cool when the fireworks go off and stuff because it'll reflect off some of the buildings. I don't know if I'll come down for the fireworks. I'll probably just go to a local community area and if they have fireworks or not. If not, maybe I will venture down because I am off the next day. Since the 4th of July, it's on a Sunday. But this is like the heart of downtown Pittsburgh. The theater district and everything like that. The Skipper Canteen. That's one of my must-dos that I like to do one of these days when I get back down there. Hopefully I'm going to be down there real soon. There's all the different boats. And there's a mixture of condominiums, apartments, hotels, bars and restaurants, and of course the business buildings. Pittsburgh is slowly opening back up in the city. A lot of places still closed as far as the bar and restaurants because of the different restrictions, but everything's going to be starting to get opened up if the place hasn't already closed. One of their biggest restaurants decided to close for good just recently. And that was the Renaissance Hotel that he was talking about that has the most expensive hotel room here in Pittsburgh, at the Renaissance Hotel. The only place I've ever stayed while I was downtown here is at the Sheraton, which is at Station Square where we caught the boat. Well, I rented for the 4th of July before they built up a lot of things, and we watched the fireworks from our room. And when he was talking about the KDKA radio station at Gateway Center and where KDKA television is located, it is where those silver buildings in a square called the Gateway Center area. That's the Highmark building there, but in this square area where that silver building is, that's Gateway Center, where the home of KDKA News television. The radio station is now out in a different location, but it used to be down here in downtown Pittsburgh, and it is the oldest radio station. Plus, they do mention KDKA radio in the Carousel of Progress. So it does have a Disney connection. The Permane Brothers sandwiches, where they put French fries on their sandwiches. They have the steak burger, and it comes with coleslaw and fries between 2 pieces of bread with tomato, and also so that's their famous sandwiches, the Permane Brothers restaurant, Permane Brothers sandwiches. You can get capicola, you can get egg put on there, fish. They do other types of flavoring, different sandwiches too, but it is the Permane Brothers sandwich. It is pretty yummy. It's one of my favorites. I tend to put the coleslaw on the side, but I don't usually do the tomatoes.
Feel free to stand around, walk around, love it, go guys within the drink ring. You can still hear me talking about. As we're going to jump back into the narration, off to the right-hand side here, it's coming up ahead of us here a little bit, in this tree line in front of the Schubert building.
Yeah, mine's usually the steak burger.
This is the Green War Veterans Memorial, and the white lettering that's on this black wall is the name of every
He's talking about the north side of where we were, but that side of the boat's pretty crowded, so I can't show it to you. But it is.
This is going back to the original city of Pittsburgh city lines, which are stretched down to some cities that are down in West Virginia, some cities that are over in Oak.
And this area that I'm pointing at is Point State Park, where the French and Indian War and Fort Pitt is located, and the blockhouse.
You'll hear them talk about WVU, by that being like the Greater Pittsburgh region. That is why WVU.
And they have the fountain.
City was Greater Pittsburgh area. So you're to the side of Korean War veterans, where you'll see those oddly shaped set of stairs. There's a couple people playing around right now. This is Pittsburgh's water stairs. Now, the water has been turned on to them for about a little over a year because of the pandemic. They didn't want people congregating in certain places. We're hoping with the easier restrictions that they will open these back up this year. There's no contact waivers as of that. But there's stands a tree that honors the code, and the water is treated like a normal swimming pool. So you can actually jump on in and play around with the water. But it's actually 200. A lot of people, like there's a couple times where some of the guys come over with a large tank, will set down the hillside beside the water stairs, and they'll get a pump of water from the water stairs right that's marked, and make a large slip and slide from the hillside. As we clear back underneath the Fort Duquesne Bridge sitting in front of the People Center here, you'll see this large skeletal structure. Kind of looks like a pineapple in shape. This is actually in the shape of an inverted lotus blossom with hibiscus flower, and this is the Asian symbol for peace. This is the Vietnam Veterans Monument. The statues at the bottom of this monument are depicting soldiers returning home to their families after the war. And there's also wind chimes at the top of it. So if you're over here and the wind blows, you get the chimes go off, it's said to be a prayer for all of our fallen soldiers. Sitting directly in front of stage 8E, you'll see those metal spires sticking up out of the ground there. This is the World War II Veterans Award. Those metal spires do have pictures showcased on to show you what life was like for our soldiers on the battlefront, as well as what it was like for their families back here in the home front and what it was like in the factories for the workers that donated everything to the war effort. Now, back in 2001, none of this existed over here. What stood right here was Three Rivers Stadium. It was home to our Pirates as well as our Steelers. It wasn't put in 2001, however, to make way for PNC Park and Heinz Field. All the remains of Three Rivers Stadium, if you notice the tree line there in front of Heinz Field, you'll see that portal that sticks up with the white D at the end of it. There's your gate D entrance into Three Rivers Stadium. We do have such a rich history here with our sports teams. The old wall, the right field wall, still stands in Oakland where Forbes Field used to be as well. Now, before I talk about Heinz Field over here, I want to talk about this old bridge board right here. This thing's been cleaned up, hauled out. This is the old Manchester bridge board. And it was sitting here doing nothing. It was just like a piece of history, you know. They got special permission. They cleaned it up, hollowed it out, put a large statue there. That statue is of a man that is tying his shoe. This, ladies and gentlemen, is a statue of Mr. Fred Rogers. And this is known as the tribute to children. Every single episode of Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood was filmed here in the city of Pittsburgh at the WQED studios over in Oakland, with the exception of one episode that he had filmed in Moscow, Russia. Every sweater he wore on the show was also hand-knitted for him by his mother. And contrary to popular belief, those sweaters were not used to cover the tattoos he had up and down his arms from his days as a Marine Scout sniper. He was not a sniper in the Marine Corps. He was, however, in the Army, but he was a chaplain in the Army. Now that does bring us to Heinz Field. Heinz Field is home to our 9-time national champion Pitt Panthers. That is the biggest cheer I've ever got for Pitt. I'm going to say that was the biggest cheer I've ever heard from Pitt. I had a boat with Pitt players on the boat and they still didn't cheer that loud. If you don't like the Pitt Panthers, you might like the 6-time Super Bowl champion Pittsburgh Steelers. That's right, 6. We used to be able to say we have more than any other team, but then the New England Patriots, I'm sorry, I meant Patriots, decided they wanted to cheat their way to the
Tom Brady has 6. Hello, JNN Travels. Thank you for joining.
First get 7. Go back. Now, Heinz Field City Pass has just over 68,000 fans. Traditionally small for an NFL caliber stadium, but it was built this way with one thing in mind and one thing only: to sell out. Every single Pittsburgh Steelers home game since this stadium opened in 2001, with the exception of last year because we don't count it, has been a sellout. If it wasn't for the pandemic, it would have been sold out last year as well. That is 20 years of sellouts. There is a
okay, Texas Takes. Have a great evening and enjoy the rest of your trip. And enjoy the MK.
Tickets to the Steelers. So if you want season tickets, I recommend getting your name on the list now. In about 20 years, you might get a phone call. Your tickets are available for purchase. Season ticket holders do not give up their tickets very easily. I still hold a grudge against my aunt to this day. My family had season tickets. My aunt knew that I wanted them. Granted, I was only 12 at the time, but she sold them to her in-laws. Like, I could have been 12-year-old with season tickets to Steelers. You know how popular what a baby? Anyway, but, you know, that still happens. And I found out later on that the in-laws sold them off to somebody else, like a family friend of theirs. So now they're not even in the family anymore.
That stinks.
Anyway, the silver building over here with the red trim on it is the Carnegie Science Center. The Carnegie Science Center is considered to be an amusement park for your mind. It has over 250 hands-on exhibits inside there, an Omnimax theater, and a small planetarium. Its biggest attraction, however, doesn't sit in the building itself, rather in the river outside of it. This is the USS Raquin. It is a World War II diesel Tench-class submarine that never actually saw any battle during the wartime. She was on her way to the war effort when the war ended.
This is a sightseeing cruise from the Gateway Clipper Fleet here in Pittsburgh. It's a tourist cruise. They also do weddings, and you can rent this for your proms, weddings, all kinds of different things, reunions. You can rent their boats. I'll give you a quick tour of the boat here in a little bit when we turn around up here. We're going on to the Ohio River at this point, but they don't go that far up the Ohio River because this is only an hour tour. I've been on longer ones before we go up further underneath the West End Bridge, which is ahead of us. And that's the casino there, which we'll talk about. So if you ever come to Pittsburgh, you can go to a Pirate game. You can come on the Gateway Clipper Fleet. You can take the inclines up to Mount Washington. There's Kennywood Park. Especially if you come here in the summer.
You have the full city skyline. The rivers merge together at the point. Fort Pitt, Fort Duquesne Bridge, and found in operation. Perfect opportunity to snap some photos. I'll give you guys just a couple minutes to do that too.
And that side of the shore is the south side of Pittsburgh. And then up there is Mount Washington, where the Iron City beer sign is. Yeah, thank you. There's a great view of the city of the Golden Triangle, as they called it in the day. Yeah, you can take an incline. There's two of them. There's the Duquesne incline and the Monongahela incline. But there is the great views, and you can get your screenshots right there of the city of Pittsburgh. Mm-hmm. And you can see the tiki boats there. You can rent that out and with all your friends and go out on the river and enjoy bar fun.
After the Cold War was over, the Racon was used as a training vessel for many years off the coast of Florida. And during her training days, she actually set a world record for a Duchess-class submarine, as our USS Racon spent a full 90 days underwater with its full crew of 88 on board without ever servicing once for any needs. During this time frame, the crew on board were allowed to take one 60-second shower a week with salt water. There was, however, one crew member on board that was allowed to take one 90-second shower every day with fresh water. Anybody care to guess who that crew member was? Hearing a lot of captain. I just heard it. The chef. They knew even back then they wanted the cook to be clean. So. Now, the Racon can be toured daily with the same mission price through the Carnegie Science Center. And me personally, I highly recommend it. I've toured it a few dozen times myself. It is a great experience. You learn something new every time you go onto it. And if they still do the guided tours, and the one guy that's still, or what did them one time I went, actually served on that submarine. So he actually can tell you all the inner workings of it, right down to the poker games we used to have on board. So, if he's still even there, I don't know. However, if you suffer from claustrophobia, you might want to sit it out. It's very small and cramped inside. Now, as we're going to head back upstream here on this Ohio River back towards the Station Square dock, off to our right-hand side, this entire area...
Yeah, they're all different shapes and heights. The one looks like a castle. That's the PPG Center. And they have an ice skating rink there during the winter, and then they have a fountain down there during the summer.
One of the 17 different inclines to be on the hillside.
And there's one of the inclines. That's the Duquesne incline.
It is recommended and encouraged that you own property up here on Mount Washington. You do have mind subsidence insurance, because you never know when the hillside can start to collapse and bring your house down along with it. This particular section of Mount Washington is known as Duquesne Heights, which is home to some of the finest, most luxurious condominium living here in the city of Pittsburgh. As you will find the Monterey Bay Fish Grotto up here, 5-star restaurant, the Lamont restaurant, 5 stars. And there used to be another one. I don't know. I heard that it closed.
And it's a great day for boating. That's why you see all the boating. If I come down here on the 4th of July and the 3rd of July, you'll see a ton of boats. There'll be about 5 to 7 deep along those shores.
The here is the second of our two that's remain. It is privately owned.
And that's the Fort Pitt Bridge and Tunnel right ahead of us.
This will cost you $5 round trip service on it. But at the top of this incline, you see a little green building that sticks off to the side there a little bit. That is an incline museum. And it has different artifacts of those 17 different inclines, as well as photographs of what the city of Pittsburgh used to look like back in its early days. For an additional 50 cents, we'll also take you to a small little viewing room that will show you the inner workings of this incline and how it operates, as it still runs on its original design. It's a metal wheel with wooden teeth on it. So if one of those wooden teeth were to break, all I have to do is shut the incline out, pop that wooden block out, replace with one that they already have pre-manufactured, and we'll have it back up and running again within 2 hours time. Like I said, the Monongahela incline is controlled completely by computer, so you can probably guess which one of the two breaks down more often. This one still has its original motor. It has never failed them. They do have a backup because it's been in the garage collecting dust for over 70 years. Now I was hoping that the cars would start moving on this incline as well as I was talking about it, because if they do, you get a good glimpse of them. They look very familiar to most people, especially Pittsburghers. Because if you've ever seen Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, the trolley that led to Land of Make Believe, Fred Rogers actually designed off of these Duchess incline cars. Now you're going to petition the network for it to be an incline on the show.
Oh, you're welcome, Garrett. Thank you for joining. And thank everyone else for joining. I'm going to show you the inside of the boat here in a little bit so you can see what they look like. Like I said, people rent them out for their proms, their reunions, weddings. All kinds of different things. They do have dinner cruises, and sometimes on Sundays they have family cruises where they do magic tricks and different things like that. Oh, you're welcome, William, in Portugal.
To start things off,
I'm going to go show you the inside.
The reason for this, Pittsburgh's Point is one of very few locations in the world where you have 3 rivers together at one location. But did you know that Pittsburgh has a 4th river?
This is what the inside looks like.
100 feet beneath downtown Pittsburgh, circles around the point, and keeps on going. It is known as the Wisconsin Glacial Flow.
And that's like downstairs where the dance floor and other tables and stuff are. And we'll go upstairs real quick so you can see that there is a 3rd floor to the boat.
Well, if you know anything about Pittsburghers, we are a very stubborn bunch. You told us once it was a river, you're not taking it away from us. It's going to be a river for all eternity for Pittsburghers. Remember, they tried that with our H. They took our H away from us. We got our H back. We're stubborn. You're not taking it away from us. So, now when it comes to the bridges aspect of it, Pittsburgh has more bridges within our city limits than any other city in the world. Venice, Italy comes in 2nd place behind Pittsburgh. Venice currently holds 418 bridges. Venice used to have 443 bridges. They were still 2nd to Pittsburgh. There are 446 bridges within Pittsburgh city limits. Now this is where things get even more interesting about that number. That number only counts main span automotive bridges. If a car cannot drive across it, it doesn't count. So rail bridges don't count, foot traffic bridges don't count. Only car travel bridges only. If we count all the other ones, we'd be around 2,000 bridges within Pittsburgh, and at 5,000 in Allegheny County, because there are over 2,000 bridges in Allegheny County. Now, even better about that 446, only 18 of them actually cross the rivers. We just have so many steep banks
go back down.
being a hilly place that we need bridges to get across those. The very first polio vaccine was created here by Dr. Jonas Salk. The very first gold hand transplant was performed here. And the very first multi-organ transplant was performed here. And then coincidentally on the other end of the spectrum, the Big Mac from McDonald's. Yep, Pittsburgh is responsible for that. The banana split, there's contradicting stories about the banana split. The one that we like to say is that Latrobe takes credit for it. We call Latrobe Greater Pittsburgh here, so we like to take credit for the banana split too. But there's contradicting stories on that. The very first movie theater in the world was here in Pittsburgh. It was called the Nickelodeon. It was on Smithfield Street in downtown. I'll give you one guess at how much it costs to see a movie at the Nickelodeon. I like to play on words there, huh?
There's the soccer stadium, William.
The Ferris wheel was made here in Pittsburgh. It was made by George Ferris. And at the time, it was largest piece of steel ever struck.
That's where the Pittsburgh Riverhounds play. Plus, sometimes they play football on there.
Everybody knows what emojis
regular
are.
American football, like high school football.
Carnegie Mellon.
And then there's the Gateway Clipper Fleet Station. That's where we'll be pulling into.
Yeah, and they didn't take off until what, about 15 years ago? Yeah, they were created 25 years ago. Pittsburgh's in the Guinness Book of World Records. This is my favorite thing about Pittsburgh. Besides for the bridges, we're in the Guinness Book of World Records for something else. It's a 5 square mile stretch of land known as the historic South Side. It's for bars. There are more bars in the South Side district of Pittsburgh alone than any other city in the world. So many, in fact, if you were to take second, third, and fourth place on that list, add them all together.
And you can see that one boat, they're getting ready for a cruise, like a party cruise or a dinner cruise. Because you can see the balloons and stuff like
We're
that.
getting ready to pull back into our Station Square dock. Please do not make this your last time. Let's come back and see us again sometime soon. We are getting back into full swing of things.
Could be a wedding cruise.
Full business here at the Gateway Clipper Fleet. I'll be downstairs, you guys, off the boat. So if you have any questions for me, please.
They have different size boots, as you can see, boats.
Deeply appreciated in any form as well. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your
Or
beautiful
cruise
day here in
ships,
the city of Pittsburgh, and thank you for sailing with us. Thank you.
I've been on most of them. They do have a smaller shuttle one also. But they use these two for the shuttles to the Pittsburgh Steelers games or the Pirate games. Yes, there used to be a bridge right there. I remember as a kid we came down and watched them implode the bridge. So there's all the stuff where that hotel is. That's where Station Square is now. A lot of the there are restaurants in and among there, but they used to have station shops, which now they're remodeling. And I believe a trade school has moved into there. That's their office building there. And then that's one of their bigger boats, the Majestic. And like they have that one tied to the other Majestic boat. That's a real big one. So if you were having a big party or, like I said, a prom or a reunion or something. And sometimes they do Mother's Day dinners, Father's Day dinners, chicken barbecue, dinner cruises. They have a cruise called the Lock and Dam Dinner Cruise, where you go through the lock and dams along the river, so you go further out. But I'm going to go ahead and end the stream. We may go live again if we stop off at somewhere else, so I will see all of you, and I do thank everyone for joining. And if you're watching the replay, consider subscribing to EJC Magic TV and hit that like button and let me know what you liked about the cruise. And I will see you all later in the chats, and let the adventures begin. Bye, everyone. Have a great day.